And like any other customer, they are also not immune to bad services. That we're government doesn't mean that we should be buying bad products because they're made in Nigeria.
This lady obviously didn't think this statement through before saying it. That's why she ended up indicting the government she works for. Whose responsibility is it to make sure that Nigerian manufacturers don't produce substandard products? It is the responsibility of the government. And if they don't buy these products in large quantities, how are they going to give them feedback? How are the manufacturers going to receive feedback on their products in order to improve them? Yes, are they aware that some countries made laws? They didn't just make it policies, they put it in their laws. These laws mandates them to only buy products that are locally made in their country. That was how Toyota was born in Japan. In South Korea, the same thing. In China, many countries. How many of you remember when Korean-made cars flooded Nigerian market in the 90s? No one bought them those days, but today, 30 years after, their brands, Korean-made cars, are competing with major car manufacturers in the world. That shows you that their country supported them to the level they are today. That's why you don't see the Chinese president riding in a car that is not made in China. You don't see a German chancellor riding a car that is not made in Germany. Likewise, the French president, the UK prime minister, the US president, anywhere you go, they always patronize their own. It is only in Nigeria that they ride Mercedes, they ride Toyota SUVs, they buy all sorts of luxuries that are made abroad with the scarce foreign exchange that Nigerian manufacturers need to manufacture products for the local economy. Why do we have clueless leaders that always think they are doing Nigerians a favor? Why? Why is our own always different? These leaders, when they travel abroad, they are welcomed by their respective governments and they ride in cars that are made in these countries. But in Nigeria, they shamelessly ride in cars made in foreign countries. If the government that is spending public money refuses to spend that money on Nigerians, on the Nigerian public, then what will a private citizen do? If people refuse to buy locally made products in Nigeria, who will buy them? And the worst part is that some people in that meeting were even clapping for her. Someone that said that their products are substandard, that the government won't buy them, and they are clapping for her. And how will African countries that buy Nigerian-made cars feel when Nigerian government says they won't buy Nigerian-made cars because they are substandard? How will they feel? They might stop buying, because if one can't eat his own food, why will some other person eat the food? You can't patronize your own people, but you expect foreign governments from African countries to come and patronize them. It doesn't make any sense. That means even if the foreign investors they are looking for, eventually one comes and establishes a car plant, they will still turn around and say that the cars they are manufacturing there is substandard. Therefore, they will prefer to buy the Toyota SUVs and Mercedes and other luxury cars. If these people are not clueless, by now they would have found a way to set up an engine manufacturing plant in Nigeria that will serve all auto manufacturing plants in Nigeria. Instead of the auto manufacturers buying their engines from China, they will buy it from this country. They will have one standard. If it is 2.0 engine you want, it is the same engine that they will supply to everyone, just that they will just stamp your name. If it is not, they stamp it. If it is innocent, the same thing. That's how you build and expand your economy. All the car parts, these are markets that are waiting for exploitation. Bumpers, shock absorbers. You just have to find a company that will build it to the highest standard. Then they will serve all the auto manufacturers in Nigeria. These guys will be busy round the clock because the market is there. Just make sure that their raw materials are available. And with time and competition, their standard will improve tremendously. Look at Chinese-made cars and compare what they are manufacturing today to what came out from China 20 years ago. You see how far they've developed their technology. The same thing can happen here if you have people who are futuristic thinking, people who are interested in making a change, not making a change in their pockets, but making a change that will affect every one of us. A Nigeria that works for everyone, not people who think they are doing you a favor. Why is it difficult to do the right thing? It's not as if they don't see it. They see it in other countries. They see how they do theirs. But when they come here, they do the opposite. Why? How difficult is it to create manufacturing clusters around the country and make sure they have dedicated electric power? At least from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day, they are sure of uninterrupted supply of electricity. It will seriously improve productivity because that uncertainty and lack of power supply hurts productivity because people cannot predict when there is power or how much they will buy diesel tomorrow. They will add all these in their overhead cost, which causes inflation in the first place. You can never have price stability in the economy if all the factors that support price stability are not stable themselves. Number one is transportation, and road transport makes up more than 90% of the mode of transport in Nigeria. They are used in transporting goods and services and workers. And what do they depend on? Petrol and diesel. If the price of petrol and diesel are not stable for at least 1 year in Nigeria, you can never have price stability. There will always be inflation. So it takes us back to the source. You go to the source and stabilize the price of petrol and diesel. How do you achieve that? It is very simple. Apart from refining petrol and diesel locally and stopping imports of petroleum products completely, the government still needs to invest in petrol and diesel reserves. They have to store these petroleum products in millions of liters. These reserves will be used in stabilizing the price of petrol and diesel in situations when the price of crude oil becomes too high at the international market. The US uses this method to stabilize the price of petrol in their country. It's not subsidy. Rather, they are selling it at the price they bought it. This is how it works. If petrol is selling for 200 naira per liter today, the government can buy millions of liters and store in their reserves. If tomorrow, depending on the price of crude oil at the international market, the price per liter of petrol increases to say 250 or 300 naira, the government will now push out the reserves that they bought at 200 naira. They will sell it at the same price so as to maintain that price stability. Yes, they have to use this method, otherwise, the fluctuations will always affect the economy. The uncertainty alone will cause people to add huge overhead costs. And the manufacturers, wholesalers, distributors, or even retailers will never eat that added cost. They will always push it to the consumer, which is the main thing that is causing inflation in the first place. Look at all the stages. Manufacturer will add his own, distributor, wholesaler, retailer, even the man hawking on the street or by the roadside will add his own. So at the end of the day, the consumer bears the brunt. Someone might buy something today, a few hours later he's back to buy the same thing and be surprised that the price has increased. That's how bad it is in Nigeria's economy right now. So if these people understood how the economy works and what manufacturers go through in order to produce a product, they won't be talking down and saying that Nigerian products are substandard. They are the ones demarketing Nigeria. Yes, when you say your own products are substandard, who will buy them? No one, because you have demarketed the product in the first place. Nigerian manufacturers are forced to produce their own electricity, their own water. In some cases, they are forced to build roads around their communities because of the many times trucks conveying their goods have fallen. So instead of the government to make sure that they provide all these to the local manufacturers so that they will be competitive in the international market, they are busy demarketing them and saying that their products are substandard. Nigerian manufacturers will go through all these to continue staying in the market and continue providing employment for people, while politicians who make the policies have never created any employment in their lives. Many of them have been in government for more than 20 years, so you can understand where the problem lies. That's why goods manufactured abroad are cheaper than the ones manufactured locally. Despite paying for transportation and shipment from China to Nigeria, and despite paying for customs duty, these goods are still cheaper than the ones manufactured in Nigeria. Even a product like a candle that is made of wax, you just pour it in a mold. If it dries, you bring it out and packet them and move it to the market. Chinese-made candles are cheaper than the ones made in Nigeria. No one is asking questions, no policy maker, no government official is bothered. They don't want to solve the problem. They don't want to say, hey, why? Ordinary candle. Why should Chinese-made ones be cheaper than the one made in Nigeria? They are talking about $1 trillion economy. How do you achieve that without improving the manufacturing sector? Or will they achieve that by buying luxury items from abroad? The manufacturing sector is among the highest employer of labor, also services, but they can improve the output from these by improving on basic services. Yes, because of lack of basic services like power supply and other things, their productivity is very, very low. Their output is very low. If you have 10 million people working in the service sector in Nigeria, their output might be equivalent to 1 million people working elsewhere where the basic services are available. These are the issues they are supposed to be working on solutions, if not solving them already. But they are busy throwing around buzzwords like $1 trillion economy, banks recapitalization, as if they will make any impact on Nigeria's immediate problems. Do they have any solution to why manufacturers can't get loans from banks? Even if they want to import equipment that will be used in manufacturing, they are not looking for physical cash from the banks. Just pay for the equipment anywhere it is manufactured. China, Japan, Germany, anywhere, so that the manufacturers can use it to expand their business. It's very difficult for a manufacturer to get such loans from a bank in Nigeria. In some cases where they get these loans, the moratorium starts just after a few months. Even before the equipment are installed in their factories, they are supposed to start loan repayment. From where? Where will they get the money when they have not started producing anything? So you can understand the hurdles a Nigerian manufacturer goes through. You must cross all these in order to survive in the Nigerian market. And a government official has the audacity to say they manufacture substandard products. Thanks for watching.